It's not in the cards for you. I'm pretty good at insults, and I got the internet and a lot of free time.
It used to be before the 1960s, people would look at a 20-year age gap in a relationship where the male's older as kind of a normal thing. Especially in the heyday of the 1930s and 40s, film, the golden age of Hollywood, when you saw guys like Humphrey Bogart with Lauren Bacall, who was much, much younger than him, and all these starlets that he paired with that were much, much younger than him, and other contemporaries of his. Cary Grant, another example. You would see this a lot, where they would pair them with the young starlet in the romantic way. It would be like George Clooney hooking up with Jenna Ortega for a movie, which is something that they should do because that's something that's unique and interesting. Then there was the paternal aging effect myth of 1952, which led to this whole thing of like eventual never trust anybody over 30 and never trust a man kind of bullshit that is still pervasive even today, when there are plenty of cool dudes and there are plenty of cool people over 30 now. So that's a myth. The whole telomerase thing was discovered in middle-aged sperm in 2012, 1952 was a paternal aging effect myth, which was debunked with telomerase. In 1912, you also had suggestions of this myth that got a harder seal of approval in 1952, but it wasn't even ran with experimentation. It was ran like the anti-vaxxer study. One study basically said that all men over the age of like 30 shouldn't have kids, based on a myth from 1912 that wasn't verified scientifically at all. At all. There was no experiment based on this. People were still hooking up at that time, of course, with older men because that was the thing. Then we got into this whole thing of like youth entitlement, where you think that the younger dude is better than the older male in the relationship. That's really not even true. You see, because more health and longevity and intelligence and a better looking kid will come from the fact that your father is between the ages of 35 and 55, and also the mother between 18 and 25, because of the high telomerase in the reproductive transport cells, otherwise known as sperm, or the reproductive stationary cells known as ova, in two different periods of time. I think the universe is trying to tell us something by the fact that the whole universe is in an intergenerational sort of pattern. Moons are younger than planets, and planets are younger than stars, and stars are younger than the entire galaxy that they're in, and the galaxy is younger than the universe. That shows an intergenerational pattern. The Fibonacci sequence is in the golden spiral, of which there are many of them interconnected to form many galaxies. The most common galaxy is a spiral, and the Fibonacci sequence is a series of gaps, which you see in all nature, from the Coriolis effect to cloud formation to water currents to flower patterns to migration patterns, to everything in nature is embedded with the spiral, a series of gaps within the golden ratio. So you're seeing an intergenerational pattern on the cosmic scale. So that might mean something. And it does seem to jive well with telomerase being in two different age groups. The gap being don't date the millennials, date Generation Z, and don't date baby boomers, date Generation X males, of which I am one member of. And the Generation X would be hooking up with the Generation Z, which is what we see in my friends who are hooked up at the group home that I live at, where she's Generation Z and he's Generation X. They have a 21-year age gap, and it seems to work out pretty hunky-dory for them. Everything in existence seems to come in temporal stages. The rock, the water, the life all came in at different periods of time in the world. All the elements on the periodic table were forged in the Big Bang at different periods of time, sometimes even millions of years apart. I believe it's called a spring-autumn romance or a spring-fall romance. That would be you Generation Z, I'm Generation X, and we date. And then we create the strongest possible DNA in a baby. Speaking of DNA, DNA is embedded with the Fibonacci sequence because that spiral, the golden spiral, is represented within DNA when you look down at it, top down. Everything in existence is a spiral within this galaxy, and we are within this galaxy. The golden ratio is a series of gaps. Plus, you look at the high telomerazing individuals of people that want to have a baby. In this period of time, it would be Gen Z and Generation X, because Gen Z has the strongest DNA for creating the baby from the female standpoint of being between the ages of 18 and 21, and middle-aged men between the ages of 35 and 55, which means that if you combine the two, because of the high telomerase within the DNA strands of the reproductive transport cell and the reproductive stationary cell combining, so maybe there really is an intergenerational pattern to this entire universe that we're just not looking at, because look at how it works well with Generation Z, with Generation X. Look at the Fibonacci sequence. Look at telomerase. You back and forth on this enough, and you realize that when something is in spring, it blooms, it pollinates, it sends the pollen into the air, and the seeding part takes place within the fall, not in the summer or the fall. There's a gap period. Think of this from an intergenerational standpoint. Think of this for breeding plants. Think of this for breeding animals. Maybe there's something important that we're not looking at within humans, because the telomerase high point of fecundity is the measure of quality within the reproductive system. And if we look at that from the period of those two standpoints, and we look at the intergenerational pattern of moons, planets, stars, galaxies, the universe itself being at different points and periods of time, the only division is time. We know that time is an integral part of figuring out the grand unified theory. Think of that too. So my friend and I went to the bar the other night. I didn't strike out. I didn't even get up to bat because he brought $56. I told him we were going to need at least $100. And he's like, no, $56 will be fine. I had 2 drinks, and he's like, you spent all that $45 that I let you hold? Most of that? Like, what? Like, I spent $20 on 2 drinks. I spent like 15 because I bought a beer first, and then I bought a Mai Tai. But $100 per man is probably the logical path, but he had $56 for 2 of us, which just goes to show that theists don't think, they feel. They don't fucking think, and they feel wrong. So please try to help me. If you're gonna help me, don't just be lazy about this shit. Don't come in with like, oh, we got $56 and we're gonna go to a bar at 6 o'clock in the evening when we should be going at 10. Prove your God exists. Quit being lazy. Quit being assholes. Quit being idiots. Guys, listen to me. If you're going to go to the bar to try to pick up on chicks, don't have anything less than $100 per man to do this. Don't go at 6 o'clock in the evening. Go at 10 o'clock at night. Don't be fucking stupid. Jesus fucking Christ. You theists, oh, you want to help me so bad to show me the light of God or whatever by showing me a girlfriend. But you never fucking prove it. You have no evidence whatsoever. You keep doing dumb fuck things. You keep being wishy-washy. Like every fucking day, it's like, this is what we're going to do. And then the next day, it's this is what we're going to do. It's completely different. You don't get that wishy-washiness with atheists. You don't. You really don't. That we're more open-minded than your fucking bullshit. And we're logical thinkers. I'm tired of theists fucking thinking that they can solve problems, but they can't solve problems with theism, okay? You can't say a prayer, then go fuck up. Which is what you always fucking do, theists. Why have no skeletal remains been found of biblical characters? Why have none of the fossils been found of people mentioned in the Bible, even though we've found fossils from places that man existed in those times and places? No, seriously. What God would send us on a mission to find chicks and then leave us empty-handed because my theist friend who said that he prayed on it only brings $56 to the bar and we go at like 6 in the afternoon? What God would have us forego reason? What are you talking about? Are you insane? You need like $100 per man if you're gonna try to find a chick at a bar. Because you gotta figure he's gotta find one too, even though he's got a girlfriend. We might have to swoop a table of 2 or more chicks. It's just good to have $100 per man to do these sorts of things. Please think. If you're going to try and prove your God exists, at least have the money and the wherewithal to do the right thing. Come on. Are you serious here? Are you fucking kidding me here? What the fuck, theists? Atheists don't prey on it. We think things over. Never send in a logicist to do a logical person's job. So here's the plan for the next go around. The next go around, he's going to have $150. And I'm going to have several hundred. And I'm not going to rely on him for the money because when I do, he brings $56. I mean, you have to consider that drinks cost $10 a piece. And if you're picking up a chick, you're probably going to pick up her friend too. So that's 5 drinks a piece. At bare minimum. That you have to compensate for. So that's $100 per man, at least. Plus we have to consider an Uber home since we don't have a car. And the buses don't run after 11. And it's a mile-long walk in the cold. It'll probably be spring by the time this happens, but we have to wait till I have a job. I'm planning this. I'm the logical one here. This is the way that we're going to do this now. I don't care if he's the wingman. But I'm hoping he don't fuck up. Fucking theists. Even your Christianity need to fucking step up to the line and be logical here. If theists could prove their theism by finding me a girlfriend, that would be splendid. If atheists could prove their logic and love and compassion by being the girlfriend or finding me a girlfriend, that would be splendid. Unfortunately, if Gen Z women have ageism against dating Generation X males, their babies will be born with less telomerase on their DNA, which will be babies that are less healthy, that won't live as long, that will be less intelligent, will be less attractive. In other words, they'll be average. But if you want an above average baby, you got to date middle-aged males, especially if you're in that baby making range of 18 to 25, because that's when you're thinking about having a baby anyway. And when you want to have the healthiest babies, then you're going to have to date middle-aged males, because telomerase is the enzyme on the ends of the DNA which causes it to be replicable, and there's more of it on the reproductive transport cells of middle-aged transport cells than there are on younger male transport reproductive cells. And the stationary cells, your ova, are soaked in it. So if you combine two telomerase in individuals, you have a magical baby. Something like that. It's scientifically literate, but you have a magical baby. I've always been real class conscious. I've been aware that I came from an upper middle class background and am currently at a low economic class because I have bipolar and can't really save up any money. So it's like, why bother working all that much? I can only save up to $2,000. You think this is a Christian nation with that bullshit going on? There's a salary cap on disabled people, but not CEOs. You think this is a Christian nation? This is a nation of Satan, if anything. It's a good thing I don't believe in God or Satan or any of your ridiculous bullshit, because from what I've noted, Christians are not good people. They really aren't. They have a bunch of words. They're like, oh, love God. God loves you. But when's the last time one was like, listen, dude, let's go to the bar and let's help you find a chick? None of them, because they're fucking greedy little fucking bastards, just like the Muslims and the Jews. They want love for themselves, but they don't want love for the atheist. And then you wonder why atheists dump on Christianity and religion. Because you don't help us, cunts. You do nothing but serve your own fucking needs. You barge into situations, you steal from us, you change your minds, so we get fucked over, and you do nothing but spread words, but nothing happens. You're a bunch of lazy motherfuckers. You're intellectually distraught. You're stupid. You don't ever help us, ever. You just talk. You're all talk, Christians. All talk. Trump supporters deserve no love, no affection, no kindness. They're anti-gay. They're anti-teaching kids that gay people exist, which is an atrocity. They're bigots. They're against women's reproductive rights. They're anti-woman. They're bigots. They're against Mexicans working in this country, whether they're legal or illegal. They're bigots. They're against Arabs. They're bigots. You always scratch the surface of a Trump supporter and instantly find where they're bigots. Easily. They're bigots. And you're out here hugging them and loving them because your libtard college professors said that it's okay to tolerate intolerance. Well, that's bullshit. Your fucking libtard professors taught you to tolerate mega Republicans. And that's what's fucking up this country, is the Democrats being so fucking pussed out that they don't even fucking fight. They're just like, oh, we have to tolerate for parity these Nazi motherfuckers. Fuck you. Libtard idiots. All you do is tolerate mega people. Fucking assholes. Fucking fascists on both sides. Crazies to the left of me, crazies to the right.
As an older guy interested in younger males and a libtard, or whatever you want to call me,